Long before I started off this channel, I bought these 3 glass jars. In the first and smallest one, I created a very simple little terrarium. In the second one, the medium-sized one, I created a little mini polydarium. Now I'm left with the largest and last one. And I have quite a cool and simple and easy idea that I want to recreate in this one. Especially with the height of it, I think a hanging garden would be quite cool. Stay tuned and watch me create this hanging garden, and stay to the end to see the end results. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And before we start off this project on the last and largest jar to create the hanging garden, I just want to set up a little bit more light for when I bring you guys closer in. It's just going to be a little bit better. Thankfully the weather has actually turned sunny outside, so the lighting actually has gotten better inside. A little bit more light is never going to be bad. Now behind me over here with the mini terrarium and the mini polydarium, I have a little bamboo stand with a light on it, and I have another one here in the box. I'm just going to unbox it and build it up quickly, and then we have a little bit more light. Well, there we go. The light is all set up. I'll leave a link down in the description if you guys want to go check out the lights for yourself. They're not very expensive and they're actually quite cool. They actually, well, come with a built-in timer, with a built-in dimmer into the little switch. So quite a nice little light, and they actually look quite stylish and produce enough light to grow plants. Plus you can get them in different wattage variants. So the first idea that I actually had for this little glass jar over here was something similar to the mini polydarium, of having a back wall with some moss and everything, but that would have just looked a little bit too similar and would have basically been the same creation as the mini polydarium. So I scrapped that idea and I put it aside, and I basically just dwelled on it and just stared at an empty jar for quite a long time. At some point I was scrolling around on the internet and I saw this creator over here, and I saw his little, well, very tiny little mini terrariums, mini hanging gardens and mini polydariums and such, and that actually quite inspired me. So I'm going to be, well, recreating his idea and just making it a little bit larger. Though even though I actually did try to create a hanging garden in this jar, well, quite some time back already, it just didn't want to work out the way that I wanted it to. Everything started falling apart and it didn't really want to hang, and yeah, I got quite frustrated at some point, so I scrapped that idea, put it aside as well. And unfortunately I did delete the footage, but I'm back now with fresh ideas and with a new vision of what I want to create. So let's get started. Outside in my box of everything and all small little goodies, I still have a bunch of small pieces of spider wood, still from previous projects, especially the project from the Half Moon tank. I cut up quite a few big pieces of spider wood that are in the 3-foot tank at the moment, and these are all the leftovers. And the idea is to take a few pieces of spider wood, try and see which one would actually fit nicely into the jar, glue it to the cork, and carry on from there and add, well, a few little plants and so on, create the hanging garden. Now I also still have some dried sphagnum moss that I want to actually, well, attach to the wood, where I can actually attach the plants to, maybe some moss as well. I would say I'm going to start by just trying to, well, figure out what's going to fit into this jar and then glue it obviously to here. And I actually had quite a cool little idea of actually how to, well, hide the entire glue, but we'll get to that just now. So after fiddling around just for a little bit, I actually found this piece of wood, and I actually very much love just the way that it actually sits in the jar and actually comes out of it and hangs off to the side outside. I was sitting in front of the camera for a little while just thinking to myself, if the plants that I'm planning on putting on in here, they need to stay humid, and if I keep the top open, I don't know if I'm going to, well, achieve the humidity that I'm actually going to have inside here. I do want to fill it up with some water, though I don't exactly know how I'm going to still actually do this, but I don't really want to cut this piece of wood up. I actually really love the way that it looks like this. I'm going to just start working on, well, adding the plants and see what it looks like then. And maybe keep it like this, maybe chop off the top and add the cork ball. Even though adding the cork ball on top is also going to cast quite a bit of a shadow down onto it. The light is not going to, well, fully reach all of the plants, even though the plants aren't going to mind. But I very much like this, so I'm just going to continue, well, like this for now. Let's talk about the plants quickly whilst the sphagnum moss is rehydrating. Here in our little corridor of our apartment, I have my, well, propagation and plant grow out tank. I have a full build video on this. I'll put a tag up there if you guys want to go check out the video. But in the grow out tank here, I have quite a few plants that I have, well, propagated out of the tanks from the living room, and quite a few other plants that have either basically just broken off the main stem or that either floated up from the fish digging up the plants. Now, in the two different sections of this grow tank, I have a section basically just with water, that's just for the pots, and on the other side I have a section actually filled with aqua soil to plant in any plants that actually just need to be planted or that I don't have any pots for. And well, I have some Eliocaris here, I have some S. repens, I have some small pieces of Bucephalandra needle leaf and a few other variants of plants. And in the, well, water section where all the pots are, I have quite a few different species of Anubias, some Java ferns, and a few crypts. For the crypts and for, well, the hair grass and so on and so forth, well, I can't really use in the build that I want to do, but the Java ferns and the Anubias are going to be perfect for what I want to create. So I'm going to take out a few of these plants, get them out of their pots, and, well, take them over and see if the sphagnum moss is rehydrated enough so that we can actually start adding some plants to a piece of wood. Well, I've got my plants all ready. I've got the roots all chopped off a little bit and everything tidied up. The sphagnum moss is all hydrated. I got a bit of string here that I hope will blend in nicely with the wood. And I'm going to try and add the plants with the sphagnum moss all around and see what it looks like. Set it back into the jar and, well, we'll see. Well, I'm going to be quite honest, I am not really happy with the way that it is turning out and the way that it looks. You can just see too much of the string and the plants just don't really want to stay there where I really would like them to stay. I think in the long run as well, the plants are just not going to really be too happy in the sphagnum moss, and I don't know, it's just not really looking the way that I envisioned it. So I'm going to take a different approach to this. Instead of having the wood just hang down with a bit of water on the bottom, I'm actually going to fill it up completely with water and turn it into, well, a little mini aquarium rather. I think that's just going to be much better. I think the plants are also going to, well, survive much longer, and I think it's just aesthetically just going to be much better if the plants are actually just directly on the wood. So I'm going to take this all apart and start anew. Nothing always goes exactly to plan. Don't be afraid to break things down if you are not exactly pleased with it. Just take a step back, take a breather, take a look at the project from a different angle, from a different view. Maybe something else will come up that might actually look better. So don't be afraid to just start all over again. And well, that's what I'm going to do now. So let me take all of this apart again and then see what we can create by just putting the plants onto the wood instead of with the moss and actually filling it up with water. So I have all the plants on the piece of wood and I think it looks quite good. But we'll have to see actually once it's in the glass and actually filled up with water. I did give the plants a little spray down. They were slowly but surely drying out the leaves don't look the best, I'm pretty sure the plants are going to recover. Now, I do still have a bit of sand here that is actually, well, quite a nice color and quite fine. I'm going to add it to the bottom, and then we can fill up the jar, and then we will see the final results. Unfortunately, I had to charge my microphone a little bit, and I had a bit of time to reflect on what I created, and it's just a little bit bland, I would say. I love the plants, I love the piece of wood, but the bottom substrate layer, or the bottom sand layer rather said, is just too sterile in a sense. There's just nothing there except for flat sand, and I want to change it up a little bit. Now, I went digging through my box outside where I keep all of my materials and such, and I still had a few pieces of serious stone lying around, and I also had this entire box of natural gravel from Danila, being Rio Shingo, as it is very, very easy to take the piece of wood out and do any maintenance or water change and such. So I'm going to take the wood out, drain the water, and, well, add the stones, add a little bit of decorative gravel, and see if that might just bring it all a little bit more alive, and have a look after that then. Well, there we go. The Hanging Garden Aquarium is now complete, and I am actually very, very happy with it. It turned out better than I expected, especially with the hiccup in the middle of the video where my idea with the whole sphagnum moss and so on just didn't work. This is actually even better, so I'm happy. I'm actually very, very happy. And with adding the stone and the decorative gravel at the bottom, and by adding a few more plants into the sand, it just gave it a little bit more life. It just looked way too sterile, and this actually looks much better now, so I'm pleased with it. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. I would very much love to hear your guys' thoughts on this tiny little aquarium jar. Tell me if I should add some shrimp in there or not. Still playing with the idea. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for, well, future videos and future projects. There's still a lot to come, and it would help the channel out quite a lot. We are slowly getting there to 1,000 subscribers, which is my goal, obviously. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys like the tiny little build. I'm gonna call it a night. It has actually turned quite late already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.